marka qaybta hore barnaamijka waxaan rabaa inaan idin tuso barnaamij ka hadlaya dhinaca culture-ka Soomaalida oo maaragtay wareysi iyo sawirro guud oo idin kaga soo diyaarinay dhinacaas iyo Ohio Mareykanka. marka kaas ayaan tusi doonaa barnaamijkaas oo ka hadli doono abwaano badan ka hadli doono rugcada Soomaaliyeed, sawirro guud Soomaalida waxay culture u leeyihiin. marka luqadda Ingiriiska ayuu ku bixi doonaa. barnaamijka ayaa qaybtaas hore intusaaya, qaybta labaadna waa ku soo laaban doonaa wixii informationsna oo ku soo celin doonaa hadhow iyo wixii nagu soo kordhabo. barnaamijku waa live directed. haddii qaybta ugu dambeysa noo suurta gashana ra'yigaada ayaa maaragtay kasoo dhiiban kartaa arinta Soomaalida maanta ka taagan wadankeena hooyo. marka haddii telefoonka noo hagaago waa qaybta ugu dambeysa, waa isku dayi doonaa inaan telefoonka maaragtay furo oo dadweynaha nagala soo qayb qaataan. marka qaybta hore iska visa inslag som handlar somaliska culture eller somaliska kultur, så vi har fått materialen från USA. Varsågod och titta på. Och sen det handlar om somaliska kultur.
Tens of thousands of Somali refugees and immigrants have come to the United States since 1992. They are opening businesses, raising families, and adding texture to the cultural fabric of America. Somalis living in the United States bring with them their traditions, family values, religion, and their food, art, and music. These are the more obvious characteristics of the Somali culture, the characteristics outlined in this film. But there is so much more. One basic definition of culture is the characteristic features of everyday existence shared by a group of people in a place or time. If we can learn to appreciate these features, we will grow to value the differences and similarities that define us all. And only then we will become more connected as a society. Somalia is a country with a strong tie to the Islamic religion, a deep connection to art, poetry, and society with a complex social roles. When trying to shed light in a Somali culture as a whole, all the characteristics must be seen as pieces of a whole. They all come together in a Somali people to create a dynamic and fascinating culture, a culture that Somalis have brought with them to the United States. There is a famous Somali proverb that says, "Aqoon la'aani waa iftiin la'aan." To be without knowledge is to be without light.
دبا شفا لو يري ربي وشركا دبال شباباتا شندالو شرعي يغان شفا لو يري ربي وشركا دبال.
The origin of Somali culture is from Islamic tradition and from their ancestors. Somalia is overwhelmingly populated by a people who share a single language, culture, and heritage. Somalis believe they are all blood relations. If the culture is coming from the Islamic tradition, it is unchangeable, especially when it is related to the faith.
Well, Somali culture is very broad. It has different ways it plays itself out in different parts of Somalia, from Kismayo to Bardere to Hargeisa to Bosaso to Galkayo, Beledweyne, Zayla, wherever you are. So there is a general Somali culture, and then there are different ways in which that gets practiced, of course, and the particularities can be sometimes quite diverse. But I think the general sense is that at one level they are people who are basic traditional Islamic communities. They are African people, so they are also connected to the African mainland and the Horn of Africa. They are people who I think honor traditionally in their culture sincerity, kindness, generosity, even to the strangers who come from other parts of the world. But they are also cultural, I think, people who can be quick on the draw, maybe sometimes overconfident, maybe sometimes blunt, and maybe sometimes even rude.
The Somali people, I suppose, like all other human beings, have two sides. A very sweet, gentle, friendly, egalitarian. They are a lovable people. Sometimes they grow on you.
In '87, I went to Buhodle with my Somali brother, Ahmed Ali Abukar, and people took very good care of me. They brought me into a mundul and gave me muqmat and baris, and we did research on the oral poetry with camel watering and also with women pounding grain and churning milk, and Somalis were very hospitable.
The deep, old Somali culture, I think, mandates that one is obligated to receive strangers if they come to one's place. You assume a certain degree of goodwill unless there are already wars going on. And therefore, the dignity of the household is to a great extent defined by the way it treats and receives people who are not from the household. They might be next door villagers, or they might be people who are coming from distant lands. So that, I think, comes deep within the Somali culture. But the sophisticated Islamic tradition also, I think, underscores hospitality is a great civilizational trait of Islam. Hospitality and generosity to others. So the two, both of them, the deep Islamic culture and the deep Somali tradition, both of them affirm generosity, goodwill. Now, whether human beings can live up to that all the time is of course conditional on the circumstances. But I think it is from both sources.
For example, in our pastoral culture, when a man went on a travel throughout the Somali Peninsula, from one corner of the peninsula to another, he never took provisions with him. He just went on to a family, a voice in the bushes, and then Martibu Noqday, he became a guest and he was fed.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever seen any society like that? We are unique in that sense, generosity.
I think, I don't know if this is Islam or if it is traditional Somali personality, but the stranger is always taken care of. even if he is your enemy, if he comes to your place, you must be hospitable and give him something to eat, and especially water, because it's so dangerous to be without water in the desert. And I've just always found this to be the case. And I found this to be true not only among Somali citizens, but also as a guest of the Somali government. We were always treated very, very nicely in Somalia.
Sir Richard Burton, the romantic, eccentric, globe-trotting Sir Richard Burton, described us as a fierce and turbulent race of Republicans. Then he went on to say, constant in one thing, constant in only one thing, and that is inconsistency.